history of Indian occupation forces is replete with staged dramas of fake encounters killing the innocent Kashmiris. Bollywood-inspired rogue army has gradually mastered over producing scripted compositions of encounters whereby thousands of unarmed, freedom-hungry Kashmiris have been killed and vanished forever. From the 1947 Jammu massacre till killing of Burhan Wani, the tale of deceit, deception and hypocrisy continues. From Field Marshal K.M. Karyappa till General Dalbir Singh Suhag, the plight of Kashmiris remained in despondency with rapid invention of atrocious means of suppression and repression. A fake encounter is an unlawful execution with a dramatic component. It is the practice where police, army or other security forces personnel claim to have shot dead the person or a terrorist in self-defense and plant weapons on or near the corpses to provide a justification for this killing. Indian ruthless forces stage these encounter dramas for two reasons. First, to get cash rewards or for professional advancement, that is, out-of-turn promotions, and second, to mislead the international community, human rights organizations, and world bodies to prove that the freedom movement is not indigenous, rather it is supported by the terrorist elements from Pakistan. Such orchestrated dramas are exposed many times in the past few decades.
The body were exhumed and were identified to be the civilians. This has been the pattern of the army, that they are killing the non-combatants, Kashmiris, and later on they bury them in these graveyards.
In last 3 decades, out of 100,000 martyrs, more than 8,000 are killed in fake encounters. 35 Sikhs in Chatti Singhpura were massacred by unidentified gunmen, coinciding with then US President Bill Clinton's visit to India. Indian Army picked up 5 civilians in March 2000, martyred them in fake encounter at Pathribal, and branded them as foreign militants responsible for Sikh massacre.
मेरे फादर जुमा खान को और उसके साथ 4 बंदे और इन 5 बंदों को मौत के घाट उतार दिया, जिनको घरों से निकाल कर मारा गया वहाँ पे।
हमने उनकी कब्र खोदी और सिविल निकले, वो हमारे यहाँ के सिविल आदमी थे। इन्होंने कहा जी वो पाकिस्तान के वो मिलिटेंट, गैर मुल्की मिलिटेंट।
After public pressure and huge demonstrations against this encounter drama, Indian Central Bureau of Investigation conducted a thorough probe and held army personnel, including a colonel responsible for killing them in fake encounter. Indian forces were exposed by their own courts in this regard when 5 army personnel, including 2 officers, were sentenced to life imprisonment for staging an encounter drama of killing 3 Kashmiri civilians in Machal area of Kupwara district in 2010 and branded them as foreign militants for rewards and remunerations.
The mere fact that we held a court inquiry and there were certain issues which did come up, and that is the reason we were convinced that probably there is something astray, and we requested that let the army take over the case and we will order a summary of evidence and thereafter proceed with the court-martial. I was convinced that time.
Those sentenced were the then commanding officer of 4th Rajput Regiment, Colonel Dinesh Patania, Captain Upendra Singh, Havaldar Davinder, Last Naik Lakhmi, and Last Naik Arun Kumar. Brad Adams, Asia Director at Human Rights Watch, said, "Recent revelations have confirmed what families in Kashmir have been alleging all along. The Indian security forces have disappeared countless people in Jammu and Kashmir since 1989 and staged fake encounter killings while fabricating claims that those killed were militants. This epidemic of fake encounter killings by the security forces has plagued Kashmir for too long," said Brad Adams, Asia Director at Human Rights Watch. The police must stop their standard operating procedure of killing people in custody. Too often we find that India's security forces are deemed above the law and are spared criminal prosecution despite committing grave human rights abuses. Extrajudicial executions by Indian security forces are common. Hundreds of fake encounters were staged in occupied Jammu Kashmir by Indian occupation forces almost in every region of the valley. Kashmir's fake encounters have not stopped. They add to the Kashmiris' miseries and ever-growing distrust and hatred against the occupation force. On the 10th of each month, more than 1,500 relatives of the disappeared, who are the members of the Association of Parents of Disappeared Persons, stage a protest. They sit in silence in Pratap Park near Srinagar's press enclave, wearing headbands that bear the names of their disappeared loved ones. They seek answers to know if their family members are dead or alive. What they know is that justice in Kashmir is elusive. Around 6,000 unmarked graves have been discovered by different human rights activists in various areas of Kashmir, and it is believed that the civilians disappeared by Indian forces are buried in these mass graves. The relatives of disappeared persons suspect that Indian forces have killed their dear ones and are buried in these unmarked graves. Besides previous episodes in recent months, occupation forces have killed innocent people in Uri, Kupwara, Budgam, Srinagar, Baramulla, Bandipora, Islamabad, and other areas of Kashmir. Killing of Burhan Wani in mysterious circumstances is the most recent incident in the series of fake encounters. Burhan Wani's martyrdom catalyzed the recent intifada in Kashmir, and the valley is under curfew for the last 4 months. India is trying her best to crush this intifada by force, depict the innocent victims as terrorists, killing them in so-called dubious encounters, and conceal the worsening situation in the valley from the outside world. In a bid to divert the world attention from prevailing situation in occupied Kashmir, concealing the atrocities and human rights violations committed by its forces, India resorted to ceasefire violations. Indian government openly admitted to such violations when they claimed to have undertaken so-called surgical strikes inside Azad Kashmir. Despite all such dramas, atrocities, and use of brute force, Indian occupation forces have miserably failed to suppress the ongoing freedom movement and determination of courageous Kashmiris to liberate Kashmir from Indian clutches. So whatever the situation might be, Kashmiris will carry on their struggle till its logical end. That is the attainment of right to self-determination and freedom of Kashmir.